Just think, it was 4 years ago, and then it was 3 years ago, and then it was 2 years, then it was 1 year, and then it was 6 months, then it was 6 weeks and 6 days, and it's here. Wow. I hope you all are either having voted or you're going to vote, and I'll tell you what. You have to vote no matter what. I mean, that's just what we have to do this time. Well, we do it all the time. I don't care. For me personally, I don't care if it's pouring rain and I'm out there in an hour. I got washable things on, including my hair. It can all get washed by the rain. I don't care. I will not care. So I'm going to vote after I leave here. Go home, let the dog out, and then go vote at my precinct and proudly so. And I've got here in the studio, it's quite interesting. Rex Baker is here. He is Executive Director of Gateway Rescue Mission. Congratulations on that job. Well, you've been doing that, and you've been here before. We're both ex-newsies, and later on we'll be talking about news coverage of all this stuff.
This should be a fun day for the news hounds.
Ah, yes, really. Well, I'll tell you what. Here's a little. It's sort of a contest, I guess. While we're talking about, we'll do some Gateway, and then we'll blend it in with the election, of course. This is the biggie. So, for those of you who are rally fans, that would be Trump rally fans, and I've watched a good number of them. Here's some questions for you, and I hope you will. I hope you'll send these in by way of text. Okay, who are front row Joes? Do you have any idea? Now, Lance, if you know who these are, don't say who it is because you don't want to give it away. Who are the ladies, and how many of them are there? And possibly where they're from. And who is Mr. Wall? That's one of my favorites. Mr. Wall. You can text these answers in. You don't win anything except our great appreciation, and we'll share your thoughts with the rest of the audience. We are texting at 601-879-4395. You can call us at 888-808-8637, and you can watch us at supertalk.fm/Mary. And that'll just kind of get us off going on that one. So what a day, what a day, what a day. So what is going on at Gateway? You've got some big stuff coming up, and some horrible things as well that are happening in our community.
Yeah, I mean, we're getting into the holiday season that always, gets people going. It's a big time. Thanksgiving, Christmas at a homeless shelter, because we've got a lot of people there that is their home for that season. So it's always an exciting time. We're in the fourth quarter. Most of your donations come in, all that sort of thing. So yeah.
So, like, if people would like to donate, do you take money and items, clothing, stuff like that? Kitchen items, or household, whatever you got. So, if people want to donate, and they're saying, okay, I'm in the mood to donate today, what do they do?
The quickest thing to do is go to our website, gatewaymission.org, and you can click on buttons there that say Donate Now. For household items, we take those donations at our thrift store in Pearl, and if you got enough, we'll come out and pick it up.
Oh, wow!
Yeah, we do a lot of that.
And you can make all those arrangements through the website, huh?
You can make if you need if you're donating couches and furniture, then you call our thrift store and book through there. And
they can come if it's a big thing or whatever. If you can't get it to you.
Yeah.
How long have you been doing this job now?
I went to Gateway in 1998, Mary.
Wow.
It seems like it's been about 5 years, but it's been a lot longer than that.
Wow. Well, see, folks, for those of you and those who have memories, Rex used to be a newsman at Channel 12.
Yeah.
And how long where are you from originally, by the way?
I'm from northeast Mississippi, near a little town called Sherman in Pontotoc County. Now it's just out from Tupelo now because Tupelo's grown a lot. Mm-hmm. So that's my old stomping ground.
Something must have happened that triggered you to go from that world, so secular, into a world that has a lot of religion with it too.
Yeah.
What is it that was there a particularly eventful thing that happened, or was it coming on you in time that this is news is where I need to be? I need to be doing something better.
I loved the news business. TV news I had a lot of fun doing it, but as you know, Mary, it can be a hard business too. So I got married, had a couple of little girls, and just felt like, is this really what I want to do? Because I could see that you're going to miss a lot of their stuff. Because if you're breaking the story, covering the news, you're not going to be there for their events at school and that sort of thing. So it was a divine calling. I started seeking God's direction, and long story short, I wound up at Gateway Rescue Mission. And been there a lot longer than I ever thought I would.
Did you do volunteer work there?
I did. I did a chapel service on Monday night for about a year. And I thought, well, this is it. I've got my little volunteer gig here. This is cool enough. But I just was really drawn particularly to the addiction recovery part of it. And we see a lot of addiction in our world.
I call this a giving day. Give yourself of yourself to your country by voting.
Yes.
And give of yourselves to Gateway. So it's a giving day. They can help you out both ways.
Yeah.
People can help you out. And you talk about drugs. You have some interesting, horrifying information really about meth.
Well, here's what I started noticing. 20 years ago, Jackson is a predominantly African American town, so most of our clientele was black, and that's just the drug of choice was crack cocaine, marijuana, and some alcohol. And then back around 2007, 2008, we started seeing crystal meth come into the picture. Started seeing rural white people coming into our program. So, long story short, they made Sudafed, where you could only get it prescription because that's what they were using to cook the meth with. So they switched to after that became hard to get, they switched to household cleaner products to make what they now call P2P meth. That's short for phenyl to propanone. It's really nasty stuff, but it's a much more pure form of meth. And where it used to be a party drug, now it drives people into a sort of a paranoid stupor. They see a lot of hallucinations. We've had guys that had midgets chasing them, that sort of thing. It drives them to isolate and pretty early onset schizophrenia. So when I started noticing these random white people down in the parts of town that we had never seen before, it really hit here after COVID. And they have a certain look about them. I don't want to stereotype everybody, but it's haggard. I see them asleep on the sidewalk some. So we've started going out to these homeless encampments at Gateway and finding out who's out there, getting to know some of them. And it is really, it's blowing my mind right now.
Well, I've sent in some pictures. Lance has them of homeless camps that were cleaned up, or not cleaned up yet, where they used to be, and it's pathetically disgusting.
Yeah.
It's really awful. I think the other day there was a place, there's one of those pictures, I think it's got JPD was helping to clean up one of the homeless camps. You see a guy cleaning up some stuff, Lance, if you've got that one, and it's awful. I remember
they're rolling all through all the,
they all
the
roll
campsites
through.
right now.
Yeah, it's terrible.
So they move.
It's a terrible thing.
When they shut one campsite down, they just move somewhere else. I've been in 4 separate camps over the last week or so. One is about a minute from where we sit right now in the car, and it's off in the woods behind County Line Road on the Jackson side. It's called The Hill, and it's pretty impressive. I haven't gone all the way back in it, but there's a couple of camps down on Gallatin Street around the I-20 area, and we've gotten to know some of those people pretty well.
Do you invite them to come to Gateway when you see them and say, "Hey, come, let us help you"? Or how do you?
Not yet, because the meth messes up their brain. Where they're not. These people are not. The meth addicts are not looking to go to a shelter because it damages their brain, so they don't want to be around anybody. That's what you see: the tents, you see the bicycles, you see the garbage. That's all part of the kind of hoarding schizophrenia that meth creates in their mind. So they don't want to come to the every now and then they'll come eat, but as a general rule, they're wanting to, it drives people into homelessness. So most of the homelessness that we're seeing now in a lot of these little places where it never used to occur, that is primarily driven by meth. It's produced in bulk, it's cheap, comes across from Mexico, and here we are.
Oh, well, who are these people? Are they local people from the Jackson area? Are they Mississippians? Are they from other states? So do they say where they're from if you ask them?
Yeah, a lot of them are from this area. Some from, like I talked to a lady the other day from Slidell. I met a lady at this camp we call The Hill last week. She was from Tennessee. She was a former nursing assistant or a medical assistant. She has multiple sclerosis, and she's living in a homeless camp with and that kind of
and no meds for
no meds.
No meds.
We're seeing a lot of medical problems. People who have kidney problems because the meth destroys their kidneys, and I've seen amputees. It is a humanitarian crisis that's going on right under our nose here.
Do you get any help from the city or the state for these things, or do you all work independently of them, or do they ask you to help, or how does that work at all?
It's pretty much, so far it's been independent. Nobody told us to go do this. I was just like, look, we've got to find out who are all these people that are homeless now. I've never seen them before. Who are these people standing at the street corner holding the signs? And I've seen some of them. They'll be in the camp one day and they'll be out on the street corner the next. Saw a couple coming in this morning on County Line Road. So I wanted to find out for myself who they were. So we roll out once or twice a week. We take water, food, hygiene supplies. I saw a guy out Sunday. He's just passed out asleep on the sidewalk out on the main drag on Gallatin Street. We woke him up, gave him a donut and a bottle of water, and he ate it and just never got up out of his sleeping position. So,
well, I'll tell you something that's even worse than meth. It's trank.
Yeah.
It's xylazine is
Right,
what it is.
yeah.
And I saw an article, the most graphic article I've ever seen, a couple of years ago now, in the New York Times. And it's the hub of it is in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
And I never see one of these candidates go into that part of Philadelphia when they go to Philly. But it is diabolically disgusting.
Yeah.
And they'll take their skin off. It'll take legs
Yeah.
and arms off. And they keep doing it and going back for more. Like, what?
That's the insanity of it.
Yes.
I haven't seen a lot of trank here yet.
We have
I
some.
hope to
I'm
God
told.
it doesn't come.
Well, we have some, but I don't think it's
It's not as
just widely distributed.
Meth has become the drug of choice for a lot of the homeless because it is cheap.
Yeah.
You see a lot of them that have switched from fentanyl to meth.
Because meth doesn't kill you as quickly as fentanyl does.
no,
And you pronounce that properly, by the way.
Thank you.
fentanyl.
I appreciate
does it
it's
drive
not
you-
fentanyl, Mary. It's
Exactly.
fentanyl.
Yes.
N-Y-L.
Yes, that's exactly what I say. Everybody's fentanyl. There's
Yeah,
no null.
yeah.
It's not no fentanyl. N-Y-L might be N-I-L. Yes,
Yeah.
thank you.
And I've heard like New Orleans and Louisiana, it's more of a opiate area, so you're seeing more fentanyl there.
Yeah.
But
we
hopefully,
have it, yeah.
Yes, we have it. Nowadays, it's much more common to see addicts who have used any drug they could get their hands on. It used to be, I use crack or I use ice or I use, but now they're all over the road with it.
Yeah, but meth used to be that meth. You could go online. You can still find this meth mouth, which is because meth it eats your bones from the inside out.
Rots your teeth
you.
out.
Yeah, because that's part of your bone structure, and it's awful. It's
And
so sad.
The sores that you see on the bodies are of meth users. It's because it's got all this toxic stuff in it, and that's the toxicity trying to get out of their system.
Yeah. So what happens? Just you help them as much as you can, and who's going to step in and say, hey, this isn't going to work, folks.
Well, somebody's got to. That's why we decided, look, we can't wait on somebody else to tell us to go in and try to help some folks.
Yeah.
We do have people in our addiction recovery program who have come out of those camps. So we're trying to build relationships. So if anybody says, hey, I'm ready, I'm tired of this, we're there for them.
Well, yeah. It's just pathetic. I don't understand people who do fentanyl knowing that it's a killer.
Yeah.
Well, if you want to kill yourself, that's one thing. But if you want to have a high,
you'll find people who have done meth for years, but you will not find long-term fentanyl users because sooner or later it's going to kill them.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow. But yet you have undying optimism. You have undying faith in humanity, don't you?
Mary, it's weird. People look at, I don't know how you could do what. It energizes me to go out to the camps and to meet the people and to find out a little about them. And, that's those are the best days of my work week, are those days when we go out into that world.
Well, I hope the people who are running for office, hear discussions like this, because this is a national problem.
Yes,
I'm not
is.
a big one for government.
It's what's driving the homeless situation in Los Angeles, Skid Row.
Oh yeah. Yes.
But people don't want to hear it. They want to romanticize it like, people are out there because they had a bad break. Most of the people are out there because they're hooked on meth.
there's a way to get rid of it.
And they were not homeless before they started using meth. That's a big key.
Right.
They weren't homeless, and then I think I'll start using meth. They started using the meth, and it made them homeless.
Well, that's all that mattered, apparently.
Mm-hmm.
I remember Bert and I were at a restaurant out by the reservoir. It was like a breakfast place, and we were talking with this woman who worked there, and she was from Jones County, and she was in the restitution program, and so I said, so you were in for drugs? And she said, yes. I said, what? And she said, meth. But she was not jumping. I mean, she was off of it. And she looked pretty decent. Her teeth were okay and all this stuff. Her skin wasn't broken out or anything like that. And I said, why did you do that? And she said, well, because there wasn't anything else to do. I said, well, that's pretty terrible. But you know better than that, don't you now? And she said, yes, I do. But she was going to go back. When you get out, where are you going to go? Back there and to a community outside, somewhere in Jones County where there's nothing else to do. And I didn't say this, but I'm thinking there's got to be a lot of things you can clean up around your own house. You can help people clean up their own house. You can clean, evolve yourself physically to do things to improve your community and your way of living and all that. And I said, well, I hope you don't fall back into it. And she said, well, I would try not to. Of course, who would know?
Yeah.
Who would know? She also said at the time, though, she said, she said the Department of Corrections is really dirty. That Commissioner Epps is real. And we're like, oh, yeah, all right. Well, she was telling the truth because, as we know, Commissioner Epps was found to be extremely dirty, and he's in prison someplace for all money he took or whatever all he took from the Corrections Department. But anyway, that meth. But she got off of it, and that's good.
That's good.
Yeah, I hope she stays off
There is hope. No, I don't want to make it sound like everybody's lost. They're not.
Let's do elections. We're up on the first.
Goody.
Yeah, we're gonna do the elections again, folks. Front row Joes. Do you know who these people are? Who are the front row Joes? Who are those ladies? And who is Mr. Wall? And we'll talk about other stuff, obviously heavier stuff than that, when we come back. Hi, welcome back to Mary Wieden You on this most important day of our lives. It really is. I was on my way in this morning. I passed by several places like Christ United, a ton of people. Well, I actually saw that one on television. Park Apartments on Lake Harbor, the whole long line of people in cars at the strip mall next door. Trace Ridge Church, a full parking lot. Then we heard that a Word of Life, that was a full bunch of people, which is wonderful. I've got Rex Baker here. He's executive director of Gateway Rescue Mission, but he's also a former newsie like me.
Yep.
So, we're just fascinated with this whole thing. And I haven't got any answers to my questions. Like, come on, you all, text us or call us up. Like, if you're a rally fan, and I don't know how many rallies I've seen. I wouldn't qualify as a diehard, but pretty close. Who were the front row Joes? Who are those ladies? There were certain ladies that Donald Trump always said were well coiffed. Does coif? You know what coif means? And then who is Mr. Wall? That's a good thing to know. Last night I was really shocked. You didn't see this? Megyn Kelly came up. She was at the mall at the rally that was at around 8:00 last night. I don't know where it was. It was his third one of the day. But Megyn Kelly, if you remember, in 2015, she was nasty to Donald Trump. It was a debate, and
yes.
Do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
And Bert and I were both watching this one, and she came out really nasty about women. So we're like, what is this? I mean, what? Well, she ended up losing her job and her career over that. And I've never had anything to do with her. I know she's been crawling back. But so Donald Trump called her up. Come on up here, Megyn. And very nice to her. And I thought they must have kissed and made up. And she must have. I was waiting for an apology from her. Sorry I was such a witch, so many years ago. There was none of that. But she was very positive about him. She's going to vote for him and all this kind of stuff. And I'm thinking, whoa, that's 9 years ago. So she had a long time in purgatory, I would have to say. And then right after that, he found out that Joe Rogan endorsed him. Do you watch or listen to podcasting at all to know who Joe Rogan is?
I know who he is. I've listened to a couple of his podcasts, so yes, I'm familiar with him.
I'm not a podcaster, so
I don't listen to I don't listen to a lot of them, but I'm aware of who he is.
Yeah. So, would you like to be anchoring the news nowadays, Rex?
Mary, most days the answer to that is no, but on a day like today, I don't get anything accomplished at work. I'm all zeroed in on the politics of the day. It was always, to me, a lot of fun to go out and cover like a governor's candidate on election night. Mm-hmm. or something where you're actually there and they're counting the votes and you're reporting back the votes as they're coming in.
Yeah,
that was a thrill.
Yes, but you anchored and reported, so
I did. Yes.
Did you anchor the 5?
Now, when I anchored, it was the early morning, like 6 a.m. news.
Okay.
The last couple of years, I was in the business.
You never did midday, huh? Because I thought I remembered you from midday.
I filled in a few times, but what I really enjoyed was the reporting aspect of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because you're out because that's where it all is. That's all the action is. But
and you got to know the candidates that way
yes.
because they wanted to be on TV,
yes.
and you needed your story, so you actually got to know all these. And it was fascinating to me to become friends with all these people across the spectrum.
Right. I did mostly anchoring and producing, but I also did some years of reporting for WLOX, where I lived here and reported. I would do 2 packages a day on different topics. 2 packs a day. That's a lot. And send them on down to the Gulf Coast. But I was in on some of that stuff. Some of those races, and it was quite fascinating. I liked it. But to anchor. You have, of course, I did my own producing, so nowadays I depend on somebody else. And basically the way I see it is these are a bunch of people who don't know much except how to count time. And you got so much of a slot. You got maybe 17 minutes of news, and then you got weather and sports. 17 minutes of news that you got to fill up. Okay, so they're going to fill it up with stuff, whatever they think, because the producers rule, whatever they think that you should have, and you're supposed to go along with this stuff. But I would be horrified if I was still at the ABC affiliate and had to go into a Rachel Scott package. She's the one who is nowadays very ugly nasty to Donald Trump. She was nasty to him at NABJ. She was the person who greeted him, and he didn't have to even go to that. And what's her name? Harris didn't even go to that, to their convention a couple months ago. So it was on the couch when he got there was Rachel Scott, somebody in the middle, I don't know who it was, and Harris Faulkner from Fox, the last person in the row. But Rachel Scott, he comes in and sits down, and she didn't say anything like, well, it's good to have you here, da-da-da-da. She starts saying, what about this, what about that? And it's like, what? He said something like, I thought you would be maybe a little more cordial and welcoming me or something like that. Off she went again on him. Then eventually Harris Faulkner asked a question. It was a journalistically correct question, whatever it was, and you don't know what she thought or whatever. And that was the way to be. But Rachel Scott is also the same one who reports. Imagine if we had done something like that to a guest, we would have been, we'd be gone in a minute. Well, Megan Kelly was gone in a minute. But but ABC's got her doing his reporting on his campaign. And it's always unfounded claims. They don't ask about things like calling him a fascist and all this kind of stuff that they call him on the other side of the political spectrum. That's okay. That's fine. See, this is the thing that gets to me. Just I couldn't do that. I'd have to come out of a report like that and I'd have to say that was founded or whatever, or that was unnecessary for us. And you can't. You have to go along with that stuff.
And Mary, I think the voting public is the poorer for it because these days it is very difficult to find news without a bias. And, back in our day, it's like you better not show your bias. You go out there and report the facts. It doesn't matter if a person's a Republican or a communist or a whatever. You just report it and let people make up their own mind. So that taints how we view polling. So nobody, who do you think may win? Or just razor thin, just toss up? But it depends on which polls you like. Because there's polls out there that say Harris is going to win. There's polls out there that say Trump's going to win. And you don't know which ones to really believe because you don't have those voices in the center that can synthesize it all together.
I think there's too much. I can't believe I would be saying this, but I think there's too much 24-hour news cycles. Because they dig up all kinds of people. And for instance, like MSNBC, I can't even. They're so diabolically disgusting. How those people stay on the air, and they're the ones who did after the magnificent MSG Madison Square Garden rally. A couple weeks ago, they ran a story that had some stuff from 1939 of people marching for Hitler, for God's sakes. That's disgusting. MSNBC should be taken off the air anyway, but that should do. But they don't care. They don't care. They stay on the air. They make some money. There are people who are haters, I guess. I don't know what they're. I don't know who people are who watch MSNBC. If you're a follower of it, if you like that, The View, I don't watch that. Those women are awful. That's just, they're diabolically disgusting and embarrassing. To me as a woman, we're not like that. We're not like those women at all. Ugh. It's really pathetic. And so the poor public's like, I will say Fox has been the most fair and balanced. In fact, I like to think before even they said that I was fair and balanced about stuff. In talk radio, I don't have to be. And I never said anything until 2016. I never would reveal who I would ever vote for, but I did. I was filling in for Paul and some fill-in work at the time, and I said, "Hey, I'm a Trumper. That's just all there is to it." But I would never tell you anything else who I vote for. I'm a ticket splitter anyway, because there are people I like on both sides. But I was a Trumper then, and I was a Trumper in 20, and I'm still a Trumper. I will say that because for me, it's money. He knows how to make us make money. I mean, it was mighty helpful. I needed to buy a car a few years ago, and I had some Trump money. And then I heard that, people were saying that, I bought a boat with Trump money. I bought a house with Trump money. Like, oh, well, you must have made a lot of money if you bought a house. But anyway, yes, I like Donald Trump. He's got his ways. I mean, but he spent his life as a New Yorker, with the tradespeople. He built things, and people lay bricks and concrete and stuff like this. And they're not pretty talking people. And he's not a pretty talking guy.
Right.
But
and he is one of the most iconic political figures to rise on the scene in the last 30 or 40 years.
I mean, nobody's ever been like him, I don't guess.
He's one of a kind.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I call myself Lady Garbage because I had Lady Garbage the other day.
Yeah.
One of my garbage cans, I put it on my Twitter X, which I call Twitter X because I don't think you should have changed the name. But anyway, put on Twitter X because of that, and I loved the McDonald's thing. I thought that was great, And people were like, he didn't have a hairnet on. He wasn't wearing gloves. Oh, please stop it.
All that was great television. I mean, Mary, we come out of that is awesome television when you've got this presidential candidate back there cooking fries at McDonald's and handing it through the drive-through window, coming out in a garbage truck with his vest on. I mean, that has great television written all over it.
And for people who complain, well, he wasn't driving the garbage truck. Well, I'm sure he doesn't have a commercial driver's license, and I don't think you can drive a garbage truck without one. And if he'd have tried to drive that garbage truck, he'd have gotten the company in trouble.
Probably impeached him.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that. Oh, yeah. How many impeachments have we had? I mean, yeah, absolutely. That was great stuff. I liked all that stuff. Let's see, what were some other things that he did? He plays before every appearance at the rallies, the Lee Greenwood song, "Then America," whatever that is.
Proud to be an American.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the last week or so, he's been doing the dirge, the Chopin funeral song, da 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 da.
Yeah.
Oh, but not that part. But there's a part. It's a pretty part. But it's like, why is he doing that? I guess because it was the end of the rallies. He never said anything about that. In fact, yesterday evening, the one where eventually I saw Megyn Kelly, and they just went right from whatever overhead studio music to the Lee Greenwood song. Like, thank God we're not hearing the dirge anymore. But I thought that the rallies were great. And I see that Harris. Now Trump said that people were being paid to come to those. I don't know. Maybe they were. Maybe I don't. I have no idea. But she had to walk in she had to do everything just like him. She was for no tax on tips. She's got to walk into there just like he is. And I mean, it's like, come on, lady. I'm sorry, folks. I'm not a Harris fan at all. She's woefully inept. But this is really strange. When the election happened 4 years ago, I think that there was a cabal, and I think the cabal's been running stuff. Everybody, who's running the country? Well, the cabal, whoever they are. There's a cabal of people, and I'm sure they told both, bless his heart, what's his name? Biden, I call him the diaper dude, and her, don't worry, we'll take care of everything. It's not going to be a big deal, but you'll be in charge and we'll do some stuff and you'll do some things, but, we'll take care of everything. Not having any clue that there would be the wars that we're having. There should have been a clue that we were going to have the economy that we're having, because we're a petroleum-driven country. Some 60,000 products have petroleum in them. I said this the other day. Yeah. Your shirt, your watch, your toothpaste, toothbrush, all this kind of stuff, dog food, everything, valises, pens, pencils, things that are obvious, but our clothing, so much of our clothing, it all has got petroleum in it. And when you cut that off, what do you think happens? Not too cool. So.
One thing that I find really interesting or fascinating, whatever word you want to choose, is there was a time when I considered myself you could look at the polls and you could read the tea leaves and pretty much tell who was going to win a presidential election, at least a week or two out. now, since 2016, I don't know what to think anymore.
Yeah, really.
It's like,
who knows?
You don't know which.
Well, because so many of the polls are like, hey, who are you going to vote for? Susie over there, who are you going to vote for today? We're doing a poll in the newsroom. Oh, you pick this one? Hey, Joey, what do you pick over there? I think that's how, and that's a terrible thing to say, but I think that's how many of them are done. We'll take a break. Our final segment's coming up already, Rex.
Okay.
Time's a-flying. Stay with us. We'll be right back. Well, welcome back to Mary Wieden You. This is our final segment on the big day. Rex Baker is here. We'll get you another plug for your life, your livelihood, which of course is being executive director of Gateway Rescue Mission. And how many years did you do? 18 years? Well, since 1998.
Yeah, I didn't go there as executive director. That happened in 2003, so about 21 years now is running the joint,
You're doing a good job because you're holding it together.
Well, thank you.
And it's doing very well. And, congratulations to you. That's absolutely wonderful. Addiction recovery is something that you're working on, right, with
Yes.
people. And helping these homeless people in some sort of a way. They don't want help, though, do they?
Some do. Some, and I've seen this happen a lot where you see somebody come in, they'll eat lunch, and they're doing drugs, and they're making bad decisions in their life. But sometimes 5 years later, you hear that, oh, did you hear about old so-and-so? He went to rehab. He's clean now. He's got a job. So you see that some. So that's what keeps us going.
Yeah, absolutely. Have you ever seen anybody go from who you're helping into the homeless situation? Hopefully not. They'd be going backwards. But has that happened?
We see some that come and go.
Yeah.
They'll come in, they'll join our program, they'll get clean for a few weeks or a few months, and then they relapse.
Well, we hope we can help you out in some way for the holidays. People can donate.
Oh, yeah.
And go ahead and give out your website.
Website is gatewaymission.org. And I can guarantee you there's a big old donate now or something like that on there where you can do that. So that keeps us going.
That's good. Well, we'll give of ourselves to Gateway Rescue Mission, and we'll give of ourselves to our country by voting.
Go vote.
Yes, absolutely voting.
VOTE.
There are things on the ballot besides the presidential. And it's a long list of people because there are all kinds of crazy people who are, but Harris is up toward the top for some reason, not alphabetical, I guess. And then Donald Trump is further on down. We've got we've got a couple in this district. We've got a couple of congressional people. Mike from Rankin County.
Michael Guest.
Michael Guest he's got no competition this time, but Benny Thompson has a guy named Ron Eller. I remember that guy running against him. And then we've got some people running for Supreme Court.
Supreme Court, yes. A couple of big races there.
Yes. The one from around here is Jim Kitchens is the incumbent. The one who's done them, there are 4 other people, one of whom is State Senator Branning is her name. Yep. She's running quite a campaign. We've been seeing her in a lot of commercials. There are other people we don't know who they are. And then there's another district in the Supreme Court. It's south of here, perhaps. I'm not sure. And some of the other congressional people around the state have got competition. But that's the way that kind of goes all the time. Last time, Michael Guest had quite a competitor, but he won it, I think, rather big time, as I recall. So those are some other things that are going to be on your ballot. But so what? Go ahead and vote.
Yeah,
I'm telling you, I don't care. We've got rain coming. Fine. If it's gully washing, if there are frog stranglings going on around me, I'm going to be out there in line waiting to get in.
Mary,
this is so important.
I don't understand people who don't vote. I've got a couple of friends who I don't vote. It's almost like they're proud of it. I'm like, huh?
Yeah, it's one thing that you can do for yourself, for your city, state, country. I mean, do that. It's not going to kill you to do that.
Yeah.
It's an okay thing. Then you have a right to do all the complaining you want to because you voted for or against a person. I mean, if it comes down to that. But get outside of yourself and think about, the ramifications of these people and what they do. Think about voting for somebody on the Supreme Court. Think about voting for president, for heaven's sakes. If you don't have your mind made up by now, well, I kind of feel sorry for you. But you can still spend the rest of the day learning because the polls are open until 7 o'clock tonight. And I hope that everything is going well in Mississippi. I hope that we don't hear about machines failing or not enough ballots or whatever. There's been plenty of time for everybody to get organized, for all these people to get organized, and so all you have to do is go be there. That's the one thing that I think is the best thing.
I believe overall things will go smoother. I'm sure there's going to be some states that don't call for till 2 or 3 days, but the COVID year was such an anomaly that year where you had millions of mail-in ballots, sent to people
Yes.
all over the place.
Right.
And that was crazy.
Yeah, and there have been a couple of instances already this year where somebody's bombed some mailboxes that had ballots in. Like, oh, please, can't we just have a voting day? Can't we just have one thing? And I would bet you that there will be all kinds of lawsuits. Lawyers are getting ready on both sides to file lawsuits against whatever or whomever for this. But I hope it's a lot cleaner and more honest and more efficient than we've seen.
Yes.
And the Democrats did some hinky stuff, I guess. Last time I don't have any proof, but I think there was some pretty hinky stuff that went on. I hope that the Republicans have learned how not to fall for that trap, whatever it is, speaking out, I'm sort of out of my lane a little bit because I can't say, well, I know all about these kinds of things. I don't know all these kinds of things about being dishonest with ballots and all that kind of stuff. I mean, obviously the things where we saw them take things, throw things in the wastebasket, but I don't know how to be crooked. I guess I could. I don't, and I'm happy about that.
That's a virtue.
Yes, I'm happy about that. But I just hope that it's a good, clean thing. So, did you ever watch any of the rallies at all?
I did, yes. I did not watch them all, but I watched some of them.
Yeah. I was telling people the other day, it was Right Side Broadcasting Network. It's something that's been around for a while. I don't remember them from the last one, but they've done every single rally.
Wow. And
they have their own people. They're not exactly news people. Some of them used to be, I guess, but and they have to fill time because the music that's played in these venues, there's this stuff about ASCAP and all this stuff you have to pay. Mm-hmm. Well, if you talk over it, I guess you don't have to. So that's why they're talking over a lot of stuff. Well, you don't hear the whole thing. They don't have to talk over the Lee Greenwood, and they didn't have to talk over the stuff that was played. Gosh, a couple of weeks ago, there was something happened. Oh, somebody fell out at a rally, and there was a lot of opera music. And it turns out Trump, by the way, is an opera fan.
I did not know that.
Yes, I didn't know that either. And there was a live opera performer. I don't know the guy's name, but he did an aria from Turandot or Turandot, either is proper, called Nessim. And this guy sang that. And it's like, yeah, because we did that on the show. We had a guy in here who actually did that because the opera did Turandot a couple of years ago, and so recognize that. That was also the same aria that one time years ago, Luciano Pavarotti was supposed to do it, and he got sick, and he asked Aretha Franklin to do it. And Aretha Franklin was also an opera singer. She took opera lessons, and she did the aria, and it was beautiful. You can find it online. Yeah, so anyway, so they played that, and they played some other stuff that this opera singer did. They didn't have to cover that up. But anyhow, Right Side Broadcasting did nice because they didn't interrupt anything. It was just straight through. It was nice. No commercials, no nothing. Just straight through. And you can find that on YouTube. By the way, it's pretty easy to find on YouTube, and I was glad for that. Glad to see all that stuff. And he said a lot of the same stories, of course. Trump did. This one he talks about, the one that was an engine from SpaceX. It came in on its own. It was kind of wobbling around. It was like the booster, I guess, and it came to this gantry, he called it. It was wobbling around, and then all of a sudden, some arms reached out, mechanical arms reached out and slapped it and put it down where it belonged. I was like, whoa, I remember seeing that happen. I thought, how is that possible? Well, Trump was watching it, and he tells a story about calling up Elon Musk, and he just said, was that yours? And Elon said, yes. And Trump goes, do the Russians have one like that? No. Do the Chinese? No. I'm the only one. And then he wanted to know, are they going to get those? He said, no. It's amazing. So I mean, I've heard these stories now a bunch of times, but they're just kind of fun to hear over again.
Yeah.
It's the whole thing is amazing. I would certainly make no predictions, but is it 217 you need? 271. 271.
Yeah, I think 269 is a tie if both, so 270. Or something like that.
270 or 271. Okay. Yeah, so that'll be, if that happens before I conk out for the night, I'll be happy. If the other people take forever to get the results in, well, what the heck?
I'm one of those I'll be up till 1 or 2 in the morning.
Yeah. Well, I will if I can stay awake because I fell asleep, I don't know, it was It was before. I don't know what time. It was before 9 o'clock, maybe yesterday. I don't know. I'm a gut feel, but I can't. The nights this is so ridiculous. The nights before I go to work, I try to go to bed early so I get a good night's sleep, right? But then invariably I wake up at 1:30 in the morning. Let's see what am I do now. And then by the time I get to work, I'm dragging. But I will stay up. I don't have to work tomorrow. I'll stay up and watch as much as I can because it's historic.
It really is. This is a different day in which we live now. The campaigns are not conducted like they used to be. It's much more a 24/7 news cycle, and you don't go to bed and wake up on election day thinking you know who's going to win.
We don't.
After 2016 and 2020, I don't know who's going to win this thing today.
Right. I would never make a prediction. I don't know. I mean, I just I hope that it goes off without complications and ugliness and lawsuits and blah blah blah. Yeah. I hope that it goes I know professionally well.
I used to could trust my gut, and I know what my gut says on this one, but I don't know if that's going to happen.
Yeah. I do too, but I don't know. And if the worst happens, then what are we going to do? I mean, everybody's got a worse side, right? The ones who aren't for this one is, but I don't know. Obviously, I don't know. Oh well. You know what? The next time I see you all will be here on Friday, and boy, we will know what comes after tonight or tomorrow. Or I hope we know. Hope we know by Friday, right? All right, everybody. Thanks an awful lot. See you on Friday. Go vote.